Yo, 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 YouTube fam, what's going on? What's going on? Give everybody a quick second to drop in and let's get this thing active going. I'm excited about this conversation tonight. What's going on, guys? What's going on? What's going on? Getting ready to have a conversation. We want to talk about a lot of different things tonight, but primarily, goal setting, establishing some goals to get started in your business and the things that you're doing when it comes to, wholesaling. So we're going to have a great conversation now. I got somebody dropping in that was a student of mine and has done a deal. And we're going to talk about, setting your goals, getting started in the business, what that looks like, how to handle that. And it's going to be an awesome conversation. So I appreciate you guys dropping in. Let me see who's in the building. You fam, let me see those. Let me see those U symbols in the chat right now. So I know you guys are in the building. I see Latoya, Ariel, Ricardo, Ashley, Albert, Anthony, Bam, Tez, The Bit, Thabit, my guy. Hey, shout out to Thabit, man. I got to shout him out right now. Just closed his first deal. Much love to you, my brother. I'm extremely happy for you. Much love to you. It's a beautiful thing. And I'm happy for you, man. You deserve it. And I can't wait to have you on this podcast too, man. Just seeing your post earlier and your story and where you've come from. We're going to save the story for the podcast, but I need to get you on here ASAP, man, because that's a beautiful thing that you've been able to do. So we're going to get this started, guys. Tonight, I have James Richardson joining me. We're going to be talking about his process, how he was able to set some goals for his business so he could really get things going, really get things started, and accomplish his first deal. So it's going to definitely be a great conversation. And let me know, guys, like, where are you tapping in from? Where are you at right now? And what I want you to do is go share this link with anybody that you think needs to be on here with us right now, because we're definitely going to be giving some game out tonight and letting people know how to really get this thing going. It's 2021. This is the first YouTube of 2021. I'm excited about this year. We're getting ready to do crazy things. My U family is killing it. I mean, look, my students are doing deals left and right now. It's insane. And we're growing as a unit, as a family, and we're just doing some awesome stuff. So, guys, while we're waiting on our guest, if you have questions, anything you want to ask, feel free to drop it right now. I want to answer those questions for you before we get the ball rolling tonight. But shout out to everybody that's joining us right now, for sure. I see my guy Jeff is in here, Sophia, Ashley Johnson. Man, it's awesome. Anytime that the U family shows up, I love it. Shout out to Rico, Murdoch. I see you. I always love when you guys show up, simply because, man, and I've been saying this, I'm going to say it right now on YouTube Live, right this very second. The Charged Up U family, we're the hardest team in the business. All right. And this is all of 2021. It doesn't matter when, any coach in the business, if you and your students want smoke, come see the U family, man, because we getting busy just like that. So shout out to all the U family that's in the building. We're going to have a guest join us here in a moment, talking about his goals, how he was able to establish some goals in his business so that he was in a position to accomplish a deal, get a deal closed, make some money. And I'm going to have him break some of that process down. We're going to go over that. And then, of course, we're going to answer any questions that you guys might have, because we absolutely want to answer any questions you might have. So somebody asked, will we get into KPIs? I don't know if you're one of my students or not. If you are, I apologize. I've got so many students. Sometimes it's hard to keep up with names. And if you're one of my students, you know how I am with names sometimes. However, yes, I will absolutely inside of the coaching group. touch on KPIs and how those KPIs work and what are some standard KPIs that you guys should be looking for. And keep in mind, next Friday, actually, I'm sorry, next Monday, I'm going to be having a really, really good friend of mine. I'm sorry, tomorrow, I'm going to be having a really good friend of mine, Elijah the Fire Damage King. He's going to be joining us inside of Charged Up, talking about fire damage properties and how you guys can convert those leads into amazing, amazing deal opportunities. All right. So we're definitely going to do that. Die Acquisitions is here with us. I see my guy Maurice is here with us. Anthony is here with us. James is now here with us. I'm going to bring James in. James, my God, what's going on?
Yeah, we found it here. I've been testing it for a while now.
Hey, listen. So James, I got to show you some love, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm a hustler, man. I've always been a hustler my whole life. I believe if you want something, you go get it. Nothing should stop you from attaining the things that you want, whether it's your goals, your ideal life, money, whatever the case might be. My guy James said, I'm going to be on this podcast. All right. And you reached out. We talked a couple of times. You joined the U family. Like I said, man, shout out to the U. You joined the U family. And here we are having a conversation on the podcast, live on YouTube, talking about your journey, things that you've been able to do and accomplish so far in this business. And we want to highlight you tonight and talk about your deal, what you've been able to accomplish, and also about how you're able to set some goals along what you wanted to do and really kind of share that, because there's people out there that need that type of game. They need that type of information, when it comes to how do they set the proper goals. Because, I mean, let's just be honest, a lot of people, James, think that wholesaling is something that is hard to accomplish. And I think ultimately, the reality of it is that the business isn't hard. This is a simple business. The process, the time, the energy, the sweat equity that goes into making this work can be hard. But you've persevered, man. You've made it happen. So I appreciate you being here. And I see you got that DMV fitted on. Shout out to the Nationals, man. You know how we get down. So I appreciate you being here, man. So who is James Richardson? Why are you on this podcast?
So I'm a young guy from Memphis, raised in the streets, gang banging. From the age of 14, pretty much just running in that lifestyle. I always been a hustler. Even though I was in the streets, I was always someone that knew it was something else out there that I wasn't able to actually see at that time. So even at 14, before I knew what manifesting was, I was already manifesting a new life, a different life, and manifesting that one day, if I did have kids, I didn't want my kids to grow up in that same environment that I grew up in. So I was hustling since back in the days, just seeking to make a change and get out the streets. Um, so ended up moving to Phoenix 5 years ago from Memphis, basically because I wanted to seek new opportunities. Came out this way and just got on the grind and just took the street hustle and took it to a corporate business type hustle on a legitimate scale.
And I'm gonna tell you why I love that. I love it because I'm not from the street, man. Came from a good family, good neighborhood, grew up upper middle class. But my folks from the bottom, right? And they were intentional about making me familiar with that environment, how that environment functioned, how it worked, so I could understand how to move in my own life to get to the next level. And one thing that I always understood, something that always stood out to me was, I got friends that are in that life. They doing things that they shouldn't be doing, chasing things that they shouldn't be doing. And I try to tell them all the time, I'm like, man, listen, like the energy that you're putting into what you're doing, you can make so much money if you applied it to something legitimate, like wholesaling, like real estate, things of that nature. So I'm really excited to have you on. Somebody's saying turn off the music in the background. I don't know if you can or not. But again, man, I'm really happy to have you on here. No doubt, man. So tell me this. So you're trying to transition from, like Jay said it, right? You're trying to transition from the street to the game, right? So what sparked that? What made you want to do better? What made you want to find something that could take you from that environment to do something bigger and better than, let's just be honest, like let's just be real, chasing down, jail or the coffin at the end of the day,
Right.
man. What made that transition for you?
So, so I had been gang affiliated since I was like 12. I actually got initiated at 14. If anybody know about Memphis, super rough city. It ain't too many good parts of Memphis at all. So at the age of 14, I actually got interrogated by homicide detectives regarding a murder. So at the age of 14, that's a rough place for a 14-year-old to be. So at that time, I was like, man, listen, we gonna move out the hood. We going to this different areas, like 25 minutes away. It's gonna be different. And I get out there to the area, they on the same thing we was on back in the hood. I was like, so I can't come out here and be what I'm trying to grow into. I still got to revert back to that mindset. So I started losing like homeboys, had over like 30 of my friends killed. And for me, like that was rough, suicide mindset thinking, just constantly trying to figure out a way how to get out the streets. But I knew at some point it was gonna be me, like you said, in the coffin or dead. So I knew I had to find a way. So I ended up running into these group of people who was doing network marketing. So it was prepaid legal before it was prepaid legal back in the days.
I remember prepaid legal. Yeah.
And they was giving me the game about business. So I remember one day I went to my homies. I was like, look, man, this is an opportunity for us right here. We can get out the hood if we just, start learning these principles. And they was like, nah, man, we ain't got time for that. So at that moment, I had to make a decision. I was like, man, we can sit around, smoke, drink, go to the club, but we ain't got time to go look at something that could be positive. And these was people I was ready to die for. So to me, that was like a slap in the face. Like, y'all can't take an hour out our day to come roll with me and learn about business. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna start kicking with these guys, and I'm gonna start kicking with these people over here, prepaid legal. Start kicking with them and just start learning and stuff about business. And today I remember this woman telling me, if you're the smartest person in your circle, then you need to find some new friends. And that stuck with me every day from that point on. Uh, so that's kind of the transition for me. I say just losing friends to the streets, getting around these business people, and just knowing at some point that's the expiration date in this game here. It's gonna end some way, whether you like it or not. So I had to be the one to go ahead and implement that change.
Yeah, I love that, man. And I guess what I would ask you is, transitioning through that, figuring all those different things out. How did you even find out about wholesaling? I remember, James, the prepaid legal wave, the Amway wave.
Right.
I remember all of that, right? And what's funny about that is what's funny and beautiful about that is that for us, right? Like for the culture, finding out about network marketing opportunities, these different things, for some was the first exposure to even being in the position of running a business, acquiring customers, things of that nature. And, people will say whatever they want to say about network marketing. I've never been in network marketing personally, but I respect it. And the reason I respect it is because it moved the needle. It moved the goalpost for people. It gave exposure to the culture to understand somebody like you, right? Like, yo, James, like there's something bigger and better out here that you can really take advantage of. So how did you find out about wholesaling in the first place? Like, how did you even come across wholesaling? How did you even come across Charged Up?
So it was about 7 years ago. So I was still in the network marketing at this time. So me and a group of people that was in network marketing we went to this real estate seminar, heard about it, went to the free one day, you know how it go. $300 for the 3 day event. And
Yeah.
they hit you with that $20,000 bill. Like we gonna teach you the game, but you gotta pay 15 to 20 grand. And at that time, I didn't have 20,000. So man, but the stuff that they were teaching in there, the basic, appetizing they was giving you, intrigued me to learn more. And I remember going in, the guy was like, leave everything outside of the door that you ever been taught before you come in this room. And when you come in this room, I'm gonna blow your mind to the point where your brain's gonna be all over the wall. And I'm like, he's just talking good game. But he was teaching about different parts of real estate. Wholesaling was one of them. So at that point, I was intrigued. But at that time, it went on YouTube courses where you can go look and figure out how to do it. My homeboy, he went and found a way to do it. Like he ended up closing the deal. Me, I ended up moving on. Like, man, I don't know how to do this. Then we listened to the Breakfast Club one day. Mark Whitten was on there talking about wholesaling. So I was like,
Hey,
okay,
hey, that's my guy. Shout out to my brother Mark Whitten. That's the OG. He's been around for a very, very long time. He was in the game when I first started. So that's beautiful to hear, man. I love that.
yeah. So Mark put it out there, was giving game. I'm like, okay, the universe is putting me in a position where it's like, listen, you wanted this, we gonna put you in a place and position to get the information. Then you just gotta go implement it. So started rocking with Mark, checking out his stuff. Then Mass Maxwell came around 2018. So when Mass came around, it was different information, different processes. Started teaching about driving for dollars. So now we get into the meat of it. And then because of Max, end up running across you and the you. So it's amazing how everything kind of bridges and connects. You learn about one person, meet somebody else through that person. It's a bridge.
I love it, man, and that's why it's important. You know, I talk about this inside the U a lot. Shout out to the U. I talk about this inside the U a lot in terms of we got to actively talk about the things that we're doing, and the reality of doing that is that you give exposure to the people that you don't know are watching, and you don't at the end of the day you don't know what that impact can be to truly affect and change some person's life. And so, I love hearing that, Mark Whitten, that's my guy, Max Maxwell, that's my brother. I love hearing that they had influence on, getting you to adjust, getting you to make a change, getting you to see that there was bigger, better opportunities out there than what you may have been aware of before. Because one thing that I say all the time, James, is you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And what's powerful about that statement is if people aren't exposed to the information, you can't fault them for not knowing. And so our responsibility, my responsibility as a leader, somebody that's an influencer of the culture in terms of real estate, things of that nature, is to show and make people aware of what they don't know. And one of those things is wholesaling, real estate. I got started in wholesaling with no money, right? Literally nothing. Burdened in over $1,000 a month in child support, making $15 an hour, and was able to become a multimillionaire through the power of real estate. And I love, man, hearing some of your story and where you come from, the things that you've been able to overcome. So you find Max Maxwell. How do you even come across me? How do you come across the you?
So I think when y'all did We Live 20, I knew you were speaking on. I knew Max would have you on his Instagram sometimes, just talking. So I was like, man, I pay attention to people who come in aboard, seeing them, and then once I can, let me check out Chris more. And then it was the close of the Olympics. So I was like, okay, I like what he's doing. Like he's smooth on the phone. So at that point, I just started looking into you more and more, and then came across the YouTube channel, and that's when I really found out about the U. Like I said, I didn't jump into it because I wanted knowledge or information. I wanted to be on the podcast, so I was like, man,
Yeah.
hey, I got this to get here. Then that's what I'm gonna do. I just felt like my story needed to be told because I knew somebody out there needed to hear it. So whatever I need to do on my end, to sacrifice a bill, sacrifice whatever, I was willing to do that if I can save somebody else from going through what I went through or feeling like giving up on the business.
Yeah, and guys, listen, sometimes you got to be so passionate about what you want to do, passionate about what your message is, that you got to do sometimes what James did. And what he did was, yo, like I'm joining Chris's coaching program because I know that I need to get on his podcast and I need to share my story because people need to hear what I've been through. They need to hear what I've been able to accomplish because in the reality of it is sometimes people need to hear it from somebody like you to know that it's possible because there's somebody that's going to see this, James, or somebody that's watching this right now that comes from your situation, comes from your environment. And right now, they are thinking that accomplishing anything that I've been able to do, anything that you've been able to do, what have you, isn't possible. Because again, you don't know what you don't know. And so it takes people being willing to be vulnerable and say, hey, this is what I come from. This is what I've been able to overcome to get here today so that they know that it's possible. They know that it's an opportunity for them. So I definitely salute you for that 110%. Shout out to our brother Ricardo. Much love to you, man. I appreciate that 110%. So James, tell me, right? So you find out about wholesaling, you get into the business. What are your kind of first steps, man? Like, what are you doing to get active? Like, what are you doing to get busy?
Man, listen, 2018 was a crazy wholesaling year because you didn't have all these systems like you got now. Like I don't think deal machine was out
Right.
of
It's a whole
definitely
different game, man. It's a whole different game.
ball game. So it was literally, man, getting a Google Voice phone number. I would be driving around writing down addresses in a notepad. Uh, go back home, skip trace. I wasn't even for skip tracing. I was going through the free method. So I mean, I
Right.
would literally have a notebook full of addresses, 20 pages of addresses. Going in once I call, I would be making notes on the notepad saying, "Hey, they didn't answer on this day. Call that." So it was a struggle, but and you appreciated it. Uh, so I was just rocking it out, man. Cold calling every day. Uh, and just driving for dollars. So that was my way I was going about doing it. And just I would wake up every morning, listen to Matt's podcast. I would hear the introduction song, and I was like, man, it's go time. Like, let's get the
Yeah.
job.
Yeah. You got. Hey, look, you got to get charged up, right? You gotta find something to get you charged up, ready to go, ready to make things happen, man. So let's talk about this deal that you did. I want to walk through the deal. What were the goals that you set up in effort to get that deal done? Like, you mentioned goals. Like, what were your goals that you established in your life, in your business that you felt you needed to accomplish so that you could get to that point?
Man, so to take it back, so 2018, I ain't like 19. So I mean everything is going good. Like the turnaround was so crazy. So we talking about from October 2018 till 2019. So everything is going good, man. I got money in the bank, living life and making calls. I'm getting deals locked up, but title issues come about not closing it. But man, the momentum is crazy. So on the day that I'm going to We Live 19, I never had an issue with my car. My car literally stopped on me on the expressway. So I go park and I'm like, listen, I'm flying down to Dallas, We Live 19. I ain't finna let this get to me mess up, this positivity I got going. It's gonna be a good day. My birthday was the same time as We Live 19, so man, I'm feeling good. I'm like, I'm gonna let this car issue mess up what I got going. So go down to We Live 19, make tons of connections, man, just get the knowledge, of course, shake hands, take pictures. It's a beautiful feeling. So you come back to Phoenix, I'm about to kill it. I come back, my car work. I'm like, okay, cool. Car is gone. A couple of days later, man, my car stopped on me again. So I'm like, man,
Mm.
what the hell's going on? Like, um, so I'm working a big calling, doing what to do. Uh, car ended up officially stopping on me. So I ran into a situation where I lost money, lost everything. I was sleeping in my car for like a week, uh, and just trying to figure things out. Then my car got repoed. So at this point now, car repoed, I had to go sleep in a homeless shelter. So I'm 2, 3 months sleeping in a homeless shelter and expecting a kid on the way as well on top of this, and can't even see my actual son. So the summer of 2019 was just absolutely crazy, the lowest point of my life. So I'm sleeping on a kitty mat, just trying to figure out a way. So, but I knew if I kept going, stayed persistent, someone's gonna have some doubt. Just like don't give up. Like I got a kid on the way. I got a 2-year-old son. I can't let them see me like this. So just had to figure it out. So ended up finally getting out of that hole. Ended up getting in a position where I was able to rent a room from somebody. So okay, things are moving forward for me. I'm getting out the hole a bit. So I just completely locked in. Like, man, listen, you saw what it was like to be at the bottom. I'm from the streets. That went in my bottom. Sleeping in a homeless shelter. Car got repoed. Can't move around like I wanted to. Like that's my lowest point ever. So I ended up just staying focused. Like, man, listen, I don't never want to get back to what 2019 was. 2020 got to be the year. Has to be. So got to the point where I was watching the versus data one day, watching versus data, and I ended up pulling a list. It had a street in my neighborhood that I was from, and this particular street wasn't really in the hood, but it was like one of the streets that had like the nicest homes on it, and it was a project that was going on out there. They was revitalizing this old Sears building, so prices and everything was just going up in this area. So man, I hopped on Google Maps and I was like, let me pull up every vacant house on this street, just go through the street on Google Maps and just take down addresses, went back to the basics. So I'm taking down the addresses, writing it down on a notepad, skip traced them. This is on a Thursday. Call all the leads, test them all, did all of that. Nobody responded. So Saturday morning came, I was like, you know what? Let me run through this list again. I saw this lady name on there who sounded, she was a young lady, black, of course. I was like, man, I think I got a chance of her. Let me call her. First call I made of the day. And she was like, she ready to sell. Like, she been trying to find somebody to sell the property to. So I was like, hey, this is me here. Like, this my time. So her situation was, did you want me to get into the situation or do you have a question beforehand?
No. Let's go into it, man. So, like, you find this lead opportunity. You get it. What do you do with it? How do you know what to do? How do you get this figured out?
So her situation was she lived in California and she was a nurse. So she couldn't really travel back and forth. This is like the height of COVID. Everything was kind of going on. And so the environmental court was pretty much notifying her that they was going to tear the house down if she didn't do anything with it. So I'm building such good rapport with. I'm like, look, I'm from this neighborhood. Like, it'll mean everything to me for you to sell the house. Memphis is one of those cities where you got a lot of out-of-state investors who try to buy in Memphis. And so she was like, I get calls all the time about this house, but I just don't feel right selling to someone who don't know the area. Get talking to her. She went to the high school I went. Everything is going perfect. So I'm like, look, how much you want for the 7,000? Okay, I'm not even gonna put my foot in my mouth, try to, negotiate on that. Like 7 grand, just a win here. So at that time, I was still doing the pumps from the 7% thing.
Hey, James. So, James, look, you know how we get down at the U. All right. We don't do none of that 70%. What's
Right.
the repairs? What's the ARV? Look, if you still stuck on comps and how to properly make offers, go on my YouTube channel. There's a video. It's the last comp video you'll ever watch. That's literally the title. Go watch it. It's the best thing you'll ever do if you're figuring out how to make offers. I'm sorry, James. Go ahead.
Highly recommend that. So at this point, I think you had did like one or two live videos at this point about doing the as is comps and that's it. So we locked it up for 7K. I was like, I know there's a deal here. Like I know I can move it on 7K. Even if I assign it for 10K, it's something. I'm just trying to lock, this first deal, love to get it complete. So lock it up for 7K. It took her about 2 days to sign the contract. So I'm following up with her. And I thought she dipped out on me for a minute. So I was able to go ahead and get it locked up. So I remember once I put the deal out there on Facebook Marketplace, marketed, I went back to your live and I was like, man, Chris said if a buyer has bought a property in the same condition, then you can assign it for their price point. So I said, you know what? I got this thing for 7K. I'm swinging for the fences with this one here. I saw a deal that had sold for 28,000, same street, same condition. I was like, man, we going for it. So put it out there for 28,000, and had a couple people come back at like 21. Somebody came back at 25. I had this young guy who was like, man, I'm gonna go take a look at it, and he went and took a look at it. Took his own tools to get inside the house, and he came back, called me. He's like, man, listen, I can do 28. And I was like, man, he BSing, like, I ain't finna do 28. Young guy, he about my age, a little bit younger.
Yeah.
And we got the agreement in place for 28. And so I knew he was a heavy hitter in the city. Once I kind of researched, he ran with some of the other guys like Cam, a couple of them big boys out there making
Yeah.
moves at Memphis.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, we got something going here. So I ended up getting the thing locked up for 28, and it only took me 1 day to get it locked up at that point. So, man, it was on just my nerves was everywhere at that point. I was like, I done had deals fall through. I know what it's like pressing. So I was like, I'm not gonna get too excited. I'm just let it take its course. But man, my heart was pounding because I knew that amount would be life changing. If the deal completed. $21,000.
Yeah. No. And look, the beautiful thing about a lot of what you're saying is, you recognize the opportunity at the end of the day. One thing that I talk about a lot, inside the group in terms of my students and even publicly is that, one of the keys to life, is being in a space to be able to recognize opportunity. And, with the challenges that you've had, life, the streets, homeless shelter, all these different things you've had to experience, those are things that could have blinded you to being able to see opportunity. But despite all of that, you've been in a position where you've been able to persevere and really, really push through that. So you find this seller, she's selling the property, you get the math worked out. How you use the as is comp method to make your offer. And again, like, look, if you're not one of my students, if you don't go watch my free YouTube video on how to make comps, you're doing yourself a disservice. All right. So you make the offer. How do you even get her under contract? How do you get it locked up? How do you even get all that accomplishment?
So man, once me and I spoke on that Saturday, like I said, first call of the day of that morning, locked it up, agreed to a price. I said because she was an overnight nurse out in California, it took her a couple of days to actually sign the contract. So I was nervous. I'm like, man, she dipping out on me. Like she done ran for the fences. She gone. So we finally get it locked up. Like I was just following up with her, staying consistent. And we finally got it locked up. Once we got it locked up, man, that thing was going straight to the title company right away. And
No doubt. So
I knew
let me ask you a question. How did you know what title company to call? That's a big question. A lot of people ask, what title company should I use? How do I find a title company? How did you know as somebody new? How did you even know what title company to reach out to?
So for me, because I had been in, 2018 doing it, I had other deals that I had locked up in Memphis. So this particular title company was one that most people use out in Memphis. I was
Gotcha.
already had deals that I had sent over to them that just didn't work out. So I had already had a relationship with them. So they pretty much the primary go-to that I use out in Memphis. Um, so once we had it, it was sent out to the title. Now at this point, it was just doing my due diligence to go ahead and find a buyer. And like I said, I went straight to the Facebook marketplace, started out in the Facebook group, and it was on to the race from that point.
Hey, listen. So, one of the things that I talk about, right, um, is how amazing Facebook Marketplace is.
Right,
Like we all use Facebook. Damn near everybody got Facebook, right?
exactly.
And they created Facebook Marketplace. It's one of my favorite places to sell deals, find cash buyers, all of that. So you literally go put this deal on Facebook Marketplace.
Right. First place I went to because like I had already had a buyer's list in Memphis just because I had been doing my thing, making calls, networking for a couple of years at that point. I had already had a buyer's list, so I just put it out right in the Facebook Memphis group for real estate, put it on the marketplace, and I mean I had people hitting me up, ready to make a move, shooting their offers for it. So I was like, I know I got some here.
Yeah.
Like I said, because of the renovation project that's going on, it's a hot area. Like, man, Chris, I'm talking about this is an area that I grew up in that you know saying on the show Gangland, First 48, all of that.
Yeah.
They literally got bike lanes now in my neighborhood. So it's going through that process right now where I'm like, it's hot.
But
You know,
James, let's speak on that though. Let's speak on that. I'm really glad that you brought that up. Like the gentrification conversation is a conversation we have a lot in our community. It's something that we talk a lot about. And here's what I tell people all the time. All right. Like we can't stop gentrification.
right,
It's too much money going at making it happen. Regardless of how we feel about it, it's just too much money. If money wants to move on an area, if money wants to move on a neighborhood, they're going to capitalize. They're going to make different things happen. We need to put ourselves in position to capitalize from that same process because it's our communities at the end of the day. This is a neighborhood you grew up in yourself.
right,
Listen, I've seen Memphis First 48. All right. I got folks out Memphis. It gets serious in Memphis. I know that. That's a Fendi fact. It gets real serious in Memphis. But the reality of it is that God ain't making more land, right? What's here is here, and that's it. And so we have to be diligent and we have to be intentional about controlling our blocks, controlling our neighborhoods, and being good stewards to the people that live in those communities and have lived in those communities for a very, very, very long time. And it sounds like, James, man, that's exactly what you've done. And I think it's dope that you were able to do a deal in an area that you come from, because who would know that area better than somebody like yourself?
right. And the area I come from is one of the first African American historic areas in Memphis. So it's an area with a lot of history. But unfortunately, like you said, we get to a point where we don't know certain things. And so knowing the proper education, we do anything to actually destroy, whether it's land, uh, information, anything. And so we destroyed our neighborhood, from trap houses, shooting up houses, burning up houses, did everything. And so when an investor come in, they see value in there. You can't be mad at that person because we didn't see the value, and neither did we try to. And so once I learned and knew better, I was like, I want to be able to go back to my neighborhood and actually do something because now I have the education to back me. And so
Yeah.
I want to go to the community. And so even though there was a wholesale deal, I was able to do something to actually help the community. Now that same house that was boarded up, somebody could use as a trap house, dump the empty body in. Somebody's now doing a rehab project on their house.
Yeah, I love that, man. And so you end up finding your buyer on Facebook Marketplace, it sounds like.
Right.
So you find a buyer on Facebook Marketplace. how do you get this to closing? How do you get them to closing? How do you get the assignment contract done? How do you get this done?
So so first day buyer reached out to me. Now this is when the stars are starting to align because when he called me, his number was 901-674. Same exact as my number. So I was like, hold on now. I feel like things are starting to work in my favor. Um, Prior to that, I found another house on that same street with this older woman I used to have a crush on back in the day. So I was like, I wanted this house. So I reached out to him like, hey, is this you that own this house? She's like, yeah, that's me. I'm looking for more houses. So I'm like, okay, things are starting to work out for me right now. So the guy called me up, we talked, and we have a good conversation, kind of just build some rapport, see what his intentions are. Um, he was like, yeah, I want it. So get up for 28. So where I had other people who was trying to, lowball offers, he felt like 28 worked for him and it was a good deal. So once we get it locked up, he sent the earnest money to the title company next day. The title company was already familiar with him. So I knew he was someone that was legit, outside of other things I had researched. So as soon as I told the title company who was going to be bringing the earnest money, they was like, okay, yeah, we know him. We'll reach out to him and go ahead and make the arrangements. So at that point, we just waiting on title search, to come back. So that's always the hardest part because you like, it's out of my control. I can't control it. So whatever happens,
Right.
it happens. But so we ended up running into an issue where the environment court had to step in. So they had to do a hearing, all that. So I got nervous about that particular part there because that was my first time dealing with the environmental court. And so when the seller first told me about it, I got nervous. I called the buyer and I was like, look, man, she telling me it got to be a hearing. She got these people coming out there from the environmental court. He was like, man, it's all good, bro. Like, I'm familiar with them. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm a part of all the email communication from everybody. I'm not letting nobody go around me. Nobody's gonna be talking to the other person without me. Like, I need to know what's going on from the start of the process to finish. Uh, so he didn't want to use the title company that I use. So he ended up bringing his own title company to close on his side. So when he first told me that, I was like, hold on, bro, what you trying to do? And I got nervous. Like, I reverted back to that street mentality. I was like, I'm about to fly to Memphis and we about to have some issues. So I didn't know at that point in time you can use two title companies. So,
Right. Right.
around the process. So I thought he was just trying to pull a fast one on me. So I remember I ended up reaching out to an investor like, hey, I got this situation going on with this guy trying to use his own title company. Have you ever heard of that? The guy was like, man, I ain't never heard of this. So I was like, okay, let me call that particular title company. I called them next day and they pretty much, kind of informed me of what was going on. So everybody was on the same page, my title company, his title company. It was all good. So my title company was dropping the ball because they would have people who would be going on vacation. Susan would be handling the deal on Monday. Come on Wednesday, somebody else handling the deal. So I'm like,
Right.
bro, what is going on? So, but I'm calling them like every 2 days, staying on top of them because I have somebody tell me that they're gonna follow back up with me. I don't get a call. So next morning, I'm on the dial like, hey, what is
Yeah.
going on? He tell me something like, where's the title search process at? So it took us like a month and a half to get this thing closed, just because of so many issues with my title company coming up and the title issues with the environmental court. Um, but we was finally able to get it closed. And on the day that it closed, I remember the title lady telling me, she needed my wiring information for my bank. So I give her the wiring information. So she told me it should be there in about 10 minutes. Man, listen, it's been 30 minutes, Chris. I don't see nothing yet. So, so I'm calling my bank. I'm like, hey, do
Where the
y'all see
money at?
something?
And hold up, James. To be real clear, how much were you making on this deal, bro?
So it was 21,000, but I ended up covering the closing costs. They had the seller. paying the closing costs. I was like, no, man, like that ain't right. So I paid it out of my fee. So I ended up getting like a little over 20,000.
Nice. So you're making 20,000, and look, I gotta imagine coming from where you come from, the things that you've had to fight through. Homeless shelter for months, being in a new city. Trying different things, trying to lead a street, not to revert back to that. I
Right.
feel you, man. Look, if they saying they wiring the money, it's gonna be there in 10. Look, at 10 minutes and 1 second, man, I got questions, man. Where is the money? I feel you. And it's 20 bands at the end of the day.
Man, listen, I'm on the app. I'm pressing it down, trying to reload it. I'm like, hey, what the money at? So
You
I
checking,
ain't
you
gonna.
refreshing the bank account. Like you said,
Yeah,
it's gonna be in the account. Where is that? We in a pandemic. It's a pandemic. Where is the money?
listen, I'm questioning myself, and I'm like, man, did I send the right account number and the line number? Like, let me double check these numbers here. And so I'm on the phone with the bank, and when I'm on the phone with them, I see the deposit come through. And listen, that was like one of the best feelings ever to see that, and it just like I knew the business worked.
So let me ask you this, bro. So like, I don't mean to cut you off, but this is important. Really want to know this. Like all the things you had to fight through, what did it feel like to see that 20,000 sitting in your account?
And listen, that was like when the moment as a grown man where you tear up a bit because like I have been grinding this since 2018 and had deals fall through. 2019, I go homeless, I lose everything, car get repoed, and to come back the following year and close a $20,000 deal, that was like one of the top five best feelings ever to me. And to just know that now I can do something to help because it's big to me. Like a lot of my homeboys that I lost, they was fathers. Like kids now don't get to grow up and actually know what it's like to have their dad. I want to be able to help those kids and contribute to things in my neighborhood. So when it happened, it was just like now this 20,000 just opened up so many other doors and things that I can do now to help others. Uh, so it was life changing, man. Like I mean, 20,000, you can go through that quick, but to be able to just close it, it meant everything to me.
No doubt, man. Like I gotta ask, like, what was the most you had made at a legit job in a year before this assignment fee, bro?
I think the most I ever made was like 50, 55K.
50, 55K. So you make in one deal, you make half a year salary basically. Because that's
Right,
that's
exactly.
55, that's 55 before taxes,
All right.
right?
And I tell you, this was on a 10 to 15-minute phone conversation. Like I didn't have to go outside and bust down 40 hours. Man, this lady talked for about 10, 15 minutes on such a good conversation that we was able to agree to a price. So to be able to get that type of money and not even work a full day, it was like, man, listen, this wholesaling thing is pretty legit out here.
For real. And what was her reason for selling again?
So she lived in California and she wasn't able to get back and forth from California to Memphis to actually rehab the house. So the environmental court was pretty much on her like, listen, you got this amount of time to let us know what you're gonna do with it, or we're gonna tear the house down.
I got you. So yeah, so she was dealing with code violation issues. They're telling her, hey, look, if you don't come abate and resolve these issues, we'll take the house down for you. And so she was in a distressed place. She's in California. The house is on the complete opposite side of the country in Tennessee. And she has to make a move. And that's why we talk so much in the U about being problem solvers. Finding people that really have issues and distress and figuring out how we can assist them, how we can help them and help solve their problem, just like you did for this young lady out in California. So you get this thing closed, James. You make 20 bands. Look, hopefully you weren't like me. I remember when I made my first deal, I ain't even gonna lie to you, James. Look, man, I blew the whole bag. Look, it hit. Listen, it hit. Look, I'm gonna be real. It hit the account. I called the fellas. I said, "We out, man. Look, it's on me. We out. We in DC. We out." Look, whatever y'all want, charge it to the card, man. Charge it to the card. How was you moving after that hit, man? How was you moving, man?
Well, so I already had the trip planned. I was just going to Chicago at that point. It's one of my favorite cities, man. So, you know, it was a much better time in Chicago than it usually is, in previous years. But I ain't go through and just blew it, just on partying. And like I made investments, put money towards different resources. So I made some things happen with it.
Dope.
But we definitely had a good time though. So I can't lie to you there. Vegas, Chicago, it's a good time.
No doubt, man. So what's the goal for you moving forward, man? We're talking goals. What's the goal for you moving forward that you're trying to get figured out?
So man, I'm really interested in getting into container homes. So it's a lot of vacant land out in Memphis, in my neighborhood in particular. So, you know, back in the days, we used to call this like my hood. So I really want to make it my hood. Like I want to put my name on something.
Hey, look, that's deep. What I like about what you're saying right now is, and shout out to a good friend of mine, man, Chris Senegal. I got to salute him out in Houston, Texas. Him and I have a lot of conversations about buying back the block and really meaning that when we say that, right? Like we claiming stuff we don't even own, right? We got to be intentional in our community and our culture of going and having some ownership, right? When these buildings are dilapidated, when these buildings are selling for 10, 15, 20, $30,000, let's pick them up. Because again, like I said, God ain't making no more land. At some point at the end of the day, we want to be in a position where we own the block. We don't live on the block. We don't claim the block and we don't own nothing on it, right? We really own that block. And by doing that, having that ownership, that's how we ascend into wealth. That's how we ascend into opportunities inside of our community, helping each other out, man. So I salute you and I appreciate you pointing that out 110%, man. That's awesome, man. Go ahead. I think you're about to say something.
And I was like, I think it's huge because I look back, when I lived in the neighborhood, the same guy that owned that house, older white guy, still owns the property to this day. And it's a boiling effect for me because I'm like, man, this man been owning this house from 2004, at least, and it's 2020, 2020 at the time, and I was like, I need him to sell this. Like, I need him to get up off this because that's the area I grew up in, the area I roam. I need that off you. And I respect, ownership and all that, but now it's time for a new owner to get into position. So I've been like literally hounding this guy, like, hey, I used to live here, bro. I need that, no more paying rent, for people, that's coming up like me. Like now it's time to actually take a different approach and own. So that's my biggest thing now. And like container homes is really something that's kind of growing on me. So I want to get into the container home business. And if I can get some of those, put it onto the land, hey, that's what I'm trying to do this year.
Nah, salute, man. And that's one of the beautiful things about real estate. We can create opportunities to get into the business. We can find lanes into the business. I started out as a wholesaler. I still wholesale to this day, but I've been able to do apartment investing, build brand new houses, fix and flip historical homes, and all these different things specifically because of wholesaling. And it created that pathway for me. And I'm interested in container homes myself, man. I think that's going to be a big wave in the future, man. So salute to you for that. One thing I want to do, well, let me ask you this, man. My brother, man, Jeff Trimble, he's got a great question. This is your first deal, 20,000 first deal.
Right.
That's crazy, man. Listen, everybody don't hit 20 bands on the first one, man. That's a nice hit.
Man, listen, but the way I see it, I grinded for a long time to get that 20K. I done cold called, I done wrote down in notebooks. I done been out here driving for dollars before there was any system to put in place for it. Man, we was pumping on any way that we could pump before there was a prop stream. Even though that first deal was 20 bands, it wasn't like no overnight thing for me. I didn't jump in 30 days and lock down a $20,000 bag.
No doubt.
Like I lost a $39,000 deal. That, Like I had a lot I had to overcome. So listen, I worked for that.
Yeah, no, you deserve it, man, and salute. And one thing I want to do, man, we got a lot of people on here right now that are tapped in. Let's get into some Q&A, man. Let's talk about. So, guys, if you got questions for James, myself, drop them in the comments. I want to answer some of your questions. Drop your questions right now, James. I got a question for you while we wait for some of those questions to kind of filter in. At the end of the day, man, like, what's your why, right? Like, I know where you come from. I know your story. Like, what is your why though? Like, why are you going for it? Why did you say, I want to change my life? I want to do differently. And then also in combination with that, what goals did you set to accomplish what you've been able to accomplish?
So to kind of go back, so I told you, man, I lost over like 30 friends, to the streets, like, through wars in the neighborhood. So before I even had a kid, I told myself I gotta get out of Memphis. Like I gotta go. 6 months after being in Phoenix, I was expecting my first child. And so on the day we at the hospital waiting on my son to be born, my cousin, someone I grew up with, did everything with, chat line, did the whole nine, spending the night, all of that, was killed while I'm waiting at the hospital for my son to be born.
Man,
So pretty much the confirmation for me, like, you made the right move. So it's people like him who got kids that I gotta go hard for. I gotta help those kids along with my kids as well. Because I didn't have a father who gave me information to keep me out the streets. The streets was the only way I knew. So I don't want my son to see that lifestyle. I want my other homies who got kids who not here no more. I don't want their kids to see that lifestyle either. So I feel like I'm here and I was able to basically survive the streets for that reason alone, to be able to help somebody else out there save a life. So that's my why. Um, as far as it goes, man, like I just pretty much say forward that it's not just about me. I got a lot of people riding on me and what I do. So I'm not a selfish person at all. I don't believe that it's just about me living this particular lifestyle. And I got people lives out here to save, like depending on me.
yeah, I love that, man. And I'm going to tell you what I like about what you said. One of the things that I talk about, I remember when I first started, right? I was in college in the process of failing out of college. I found out about real estate, found out about wholesale. I'm telling everybody around me, I'm like, yo, I'm about to start wholesaling. I'm about to have a Ferrari in like 2 months. Like, I still don't have the Ferrari, but that's what I thought at the time, right? I'm like, man, I'm about to have the Ferrari in 2 months. I'm about to run this bag up, something crazy. Come do it with me, right? And nobody took me up on that. And I struggled with that for a really long time because it hurt, right? Like I struggled with that, like, damn, like how they don't see what I see. Like I'm trying to show them there's a way out. Like there's a way to do this differently. There's a way to play the game the right way. And a lot of it is what you realized in the sense of, man, at one point I understood this, right, James? Like if I can go out here and do what I need to do, accomplish the things that I need to accomplish, they're going to see that, and that's going to motivate and inspire the people, and that's going to help them to then get active and change the trajectory in their lives. And that is true change. That's how you affect community. That's how you affect your circle. That's how you affect your people. So salute to you, my brother, 110% for doing that, man. Keep pushing far. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Keep being a vessel of change and opportunity for people around you in your community, because you don't know who has eyes on you, man. You don't know who's watching you, watching your moves. And there's a kid right now that comes from where you come from, the same environment that you come from, same circumstances that you come from. But he's going to see this YouTube video. She's going to see this YouTube video. And they're going to see this and understand that there's opportunity to do something different, to do something better, and change how these things work. So we can change that conversation, the gentrification, all these different things, man. So salute. Let's answer some of these questions, man. And guys, again, if you have questions, drop them in the comments. We absolutely want to answer some of these questions tonight, right away. Let's see. Let me see. Tez, shout out to Tez. What do you feel was your biggest obstacle when trying to get your first deal?
Since it was that first one, you just pretty much trying to get it done. So every single thing that come up is making you nervous. When the environmental court came into it, I was like, oh Lord, here we go again. When when the buyer, mentioned his title comes, I was like, here we go again. It was just all those here we go again. But I stayed persistent. I was just like, I can only control the controllable. So if the deal don't go through, I don't want to go through because I messed up on something. Like it didn't go through because of something that was not in my control.
Yeah,
So those pretty much those obstacles, like just everything was just like, here we go again.
no doubt, man. Here's a good question. I think it's great too. Did you have to? Because I know that she was in California, the property's in Memphis. You weren't even
Right.
in Memphis at the time. Did you have to go see the property? How did that work?
Not at all. Listen, I saw the property. Like I knew where the property was because I'm from the hood, so I knew exactly where it was at, location wise. But no, I didn't go see it at all. The buyer saw the property way before I did, so the buyer went. He took the board off the door, got in. Like he wanted it, so he made it happen to go see what he needed to see on the inside. So I went and saw the property maybe about 2 months ago to see what the process was going like, as far as the rehab. So I did go take a look at, I feel like I was a part of that.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I like that. I like that. All right, let's see what we got. Since you have new systems in place to be able to touch more sellers, what's your monthly goals on how many deals to lock up each month?
And so for me, hey, I'm trying to lock up as many as I can because I feel like, hey, it's enough out there to go around be doing, what you're supposed to be doing. So, trying to get as many and locked up as possible. But I'm also that person with the mindset. If I don't get anything, listen, we're gonna make it happen next month. If it don't happen that month, keep it going. We ain't giving up though. So that's my mindset about things.
I love that, man. I love that. It's a great answer. What markets are you getting active in currently?
So of course, Phoenix, hey, hot out here in the desert. But Memphis also, and I do some things down in Texas as well.
Dope, dope, dope. I know Jeff is in Texas. He's conquering Little Rock, his home state as well. A deal at a time. I'm gonna be in Phoenix next month. So hit my line, man. I'm gonna be in Phoenix. Let me back up. I'm gonna be in Phoenix, but I'm gonna be in Scottsdale, man. Keeping it real palatial, man. I'm gonna be in Scottsdale. But you know how to the vibes, man. I'm gonna be out there, but let's absolutely connect. Any of my students, man, if you're in that Phoenix area, let's absolutely connect and get together, man. James, look, man, it's been a pleasure having you on here. I really appreciate you coming through. I know we've been wanting to get this done for a couple of
Right.
months. So I'm happy and excited, man, that we've been able to do that. We got another question that just dropped in. How long did it take? How long did the deal take to find?
So I found this thing right away just on Google Maps, man. Hey, I didn't know Google Maps was updated, it was accurate. I was just like, man, hey, if the house was vacant, I'm taking the address down, man. We calling. So I was able to do this on a Wednesday, called on a Thursday, locked it up on a Saturday. So it took about 4 days to get it locked up.
No doubt, no doubt. I love that, man. That's super dope. I call that virtual driving for dollars. Look,
Exactly.
if you like me, I ain't trying to do all that driving around, rolling all over the place. I like driving for dollars virtually, man. So I love to hear the fact that you closed the deal from doing just that. Shout out to the UFAM. Albert is in here. What kept you focused when everything went wrong? How did you not go back to the streets? This is a really good question.
Yeah, I love that. So, man, listen, I had my mom telling me, listen, come back home. And I promise you, I used to listen to Maxwell, think about him going back home. I was like, man, if I go back home, I'm not a failure. Like Max had to do it. But then I was like, man, if I go back home to Memphis, there's a 50-50 chance that I ain't coming back. Not because I don't want to, but because the streets is real out there like that. And I done took way too many losses to go back to that situation. So I gotta sleep outside in Phoenix in the summertime. And if you know what Phoenix is like in the summer, it's
Yeah, yeah,
brutal with
yeah.
the heat.
Yeah.
Like, man, listen, I'll sleep outside, but I ain't going back to Memphis though because I got a son, I got another one on the way. So ain't no telling if dad gonna make it back. So I was like, no matter what, how tough it get, how hard it is sleeping in the shelter, if I gotta sleep outside, I ain't going back to Memphis though.
Mm. That's deep, bro. Like, so like you were so intent on bettering your situation, escaping the circumstances from which you came, that you said to yourself, man, I'm in a new city. I don't got nowhere to sleep right now. They done repo my vehicle. I'm sleeping in a homeless shelter. I'm trying to figure out how to get food, whatever the case might be. But despite all of that, it's worth it because it's bigger than me. If I go back home, I put myself in a space, it's a 50-50 ball. It's a 50-50 shot. I don't know if I'm gonna make it back out of that again. I done already got out of there once. I can't go back again because I might get stuck. How did you even get to a space to be that real with yourself though?
Listen,
Because you
at
understand what I'm
14,
saying, right, James? Like a lot of people, bro, can't. A lot of people would have shot back, bro. A lot of people not about to sleep in a homeless shelter for a couple of months. Like, let's just be completely honest.
listen, I'm here to be honest and transparent. Like I told you, I was 14 in the game, running with the Crip. Man, I took a knife to school, man, because I wanted to kill my own cousin because that badly I wanted to get away from the streets. And I felt like that was my only avenue to get out of it and get away. So this is so deep for me that I knew I couldn't go back because I was willing to take my own family life just because I wanted to escape it. Because at the age of 14, I'm talking with homicide detectives about a murder. At the age of 14, I'm seeing people get knocked off in the streets, wars going on in Memphis. So I knew once I got out of there, I couldn't go back again. I was at the hospital waiting on my son to be born, and my blood cousin, someone who was like a brother to me, was robbed and killed. I couldn't do it. So whatever I had to do out here, whether it was starve, sleep on the streets, I had to do that. I just knew going back to Memphis was, hey, Memphis is rough.
Yeah.
So I couldn't go back to that place.
And bro, so like, did you know anybody in Phoenix? Why did you even pick Phoenix? Like, how did that even come to be?
And so me and my kid's mom actually came out here together when we was in a relationship some years back. So, but outside of that though, no family, nothing out here. It was just, I appreciated coming out here because it taught me how to survive with no other resources to depend on, no family. Had to come out here, the age of 25 and just make a way. So, and I'm
Yeah.
always that person gonna make a way no matter what. Um, but it's just my mindset. Like you put me in the jungle, listen, I'm coming out of it. Me or some animal in there. Like one of us got to make it out.
No doubt, man. I gotta ask you, bro. Like, you close this deal, you go on this journey. Your mom's telling you to come back home. What was that conversation like with your mom, telling her about this, what you were able to do?
And so mom is my rock. Like I'm the firstborn. Mom Deuce had me when she was in high school. So
Man,
I was in high school with her. At the daycare at the high school while she was there, and then I ended up going back to the same high school some years later. So
mm,
we had a lot of experience with each other, just going through the struggle, through the grind. Like no car, on the bus, walking everywhere. So, when she knew what I was going through my situation, she was there supportive every way that she could be. But I told mom, listen, I'm a survivor. Like, I got to get out here and get it. But she was there with me every step of the way, though. So I forever, appreciate mom Deuce and hold her. So I'm trying to get my mom out of the workplace and trying to make something happen for her so she can pick her feet up and just live life and enjoy life.
hey man, listen, my brother, respect 110%. Look, I can't do nothing but salute that. That's love, man. That's a beautiful thing, man. To overcome those circumstances, and the message, guys, right? Like anybody who sees this, like James himself is a testament. Zero excuses, man. Like sometimes life gonna hit you in the mouth. Some of us gonna be built or dealt a worse hand than the other. But at the end of the day, it's like I talk about to the youth family all the time. Like we got to be built for any type of resistance. When the resistance, and this how it works in my mind, and I respect you because I hear the exact same thing from you. Like when that adversity, when that resistance from the universe hits you in the mouth, when you get stuck in it, see a lot of people they sit in that, they won't leave it. They're not willing to step up and lead them circumstances, change their situations. They sit in that misery. They sit inside of those circumstances. You were willing to sacrifice and really not let's just be all the way real, not even know what was even on the other side of that at the end of the day. Like you didn't know if this shit was gonna really work. You get what I'm saying? But you knew that you was built to make it work. You knew that you weren't going back. You knew that you wanted to do better. You know, you wanted to set an example for your siblings, for your mother. You know, I mean, look, man, I got to respect. I don't know your mother, but I got a lot of respect for her because she came from a circumstance having you when she was in high school, having to battle through that, not being able to do certain things for you, I'm sure, because of the circumstance you said that you came from. And so, what it takes, guys, at the end of the day, it takes somebody in our family line like James to be willing to step up, to be willing to go through the resistance that life will give you to get to the other side to set that example. Because again, like I said a little bit earlier, there's people that are watching James where he come from, right? They seeing you on Instagram, they seeing you on Clubhouse, they seeing you, on this YouTube video, and it's going to touch somebody. It's going to inspire somebody to know, hey, look, like you can go out here and do something different. You don't got to play the street. It ain't no money in the street anyway. I always tell my folks this in that life, man. It's in the street. I tell them all the time, man. Look, bro. The only reason you feel like you got any money is because you walk around with cash in your pocket every day. That's it. So you think you got some money because you can pull a knot out your pocket, but at
Right,
the end of the day, that ain't no bag, right? A bag ain't having to look over your shoulder.
right. You got people out there ready to knock your head off because they ain't got it.
No
You know,
question, man.
I tell a person this, man, man, chicken tenders changed my life. Man, and what I mean by that, I'm vegan now, but back in the days, I used to eat good.
Hey,
I mean,
shout out, James. Shout out to all my vegans. You know how I feel about y'all vegans, man. Hey, listen, shout out to y'all the vegan cauliflower wings. Shout out to y'all them soy patties. All right. I don't know how y'all be making that mac and cheese. I don't want to taste it right now, but shout out to the mac and cheese with no cheese. Salute, salute, salute.
I had my ex girlfriend. She used to live like 30 minutes outside of where I lived at. She was like the first family I ever saw where there was a mom and dad in the household together. So she would take me to all these nice little restaurants. And she took me to this place one time. It's like a home of the chicken tenders. I ain't never tasted no chicken tenders that was so good in my life. I was used to like McDonald's chicken tenders. And so the chicken tenders pretty much represented the significance of once I ate that chicken tender, I knew it was something more out there. I knew it was something better. It was a different quality of a lifestyle out there that I haven't been exposed to yet until that point. So I used to make trips down to Atlanta, and every time I would go through Atlanta, I would go through Alabama. There used to always be hardest rain, thunderstorms I used to come across in Alabama. So one day it was raining so hard that everybody who was driving literally had to put their flashes on just so the person behind you could see that it was somebody in front of you. So I told myself at that point, I said, look, man, you can either pull over and you can stop, wait for the rain to actually stop, or you can keep going. And at some point, this thunderstorm gonna stop. So that's been my mindset since that point. Man, you can sit and you can actually just ponder in the problem, or you can keep going and get to that sunlight because at some point it's gonna come. The rain has to stop at some point. And so for me, stopping is giving up. Keep going, that's what I did. And that's what I'm always gonna do, no matter how tough the problem gets, no matter how much rain is going. I know it's something in front of me, even if I can't see it, it's clear. I know it's there and I'm going for it. So that's my mindset, man.
Nah, respect, my brother. Respect, respect, man. Salute. Nah, man, this conversation was dope. I'm glad that we got the opportunity to have you on. I know we mixed some dates. We've been trying to make it happen, but we finally were able to get this thing done, man. So I'm glad that you're able to get on here, take advantage of this platform, share your story. I appreciate you being in the U. I appreciate you motivating and inspiring people, man. Anybody that sees this, anybody that's watching this right now. Um, Actually, like they hitting us. We got another question, man. I love it. I love it. I love it. Let's see what we got. How long did it take both of y'all to get your first deal, from learning about it to actually implementing the knowledge? James, go first.
So this one thing that I respected and loved about you, because you wasn't one of those people that got in the first 30 days, 6 months. So I related to you on this aspect. So, it took me 2 years. I learned about the business in September of 2018. I ain't like on my first deal till I completed it September of 2020. So we talking about 2 years exactly.
Word, yeah, respect, bro. Look, it took me 2 years. It took me a hard ass 2 years. It made me emotional talking about those 2 years. It was a rough 2 years. I was at the low point in my life. I felt like nothing was going right. But a lot like James, I knew if I just woke up every day, 10 toes on the ground, man, just kept pressing it forward, something was going to shake. I didn't know when it was going to shake. I didn't know how long it was going to take. And that's why I was cool with it taking 2 years. Did I want to do a deal in my first 30 days, my first 6 months, or whatever? Of course. I was broke. I was out here messed up. But that all being said, I created a mindset for myself, much like James, where I was like, man, I'm about to go get it. It don't really matter how long it takes. Like, I'm gonna go push for what I want. The things that I say that I'm gonna do. Can't nobody stop me. Can't nothing stop me. Can't no family member. Can't no job. No significant other. I'm just gonna go make it happen. So it took me 2 years. However, I mean, I would not take that back. I'm internally grateful for those 2 years because it taught me so much about myself and my ability to really press forward and make things happen, man. So salute, bro. Salute. Um, James, man, again, it's beautiful conversation. Salute to you, man, for being, intentional about, hey, look, man, we're going to have this conversation. I'm joining your program. I want to get on this podcast and share my story and take advantage of that, man. And that's why I put this podcast together. I put it together not to be about, again, every popular person in the real estate industry and this, that, and the other. I wanted to give people a space, give people a platform to share their story, just like you were able to do tonight, because that's impactful, man. That's how we impact people. That's how we create change. So I appreciate you, man, 110%. Y'all definitely show James some love in the comments.
I appreciate the opportunity to be on here because, this was a goal of mine. And I knew somebody out there just needed to hear, the story. Because I know somebody out there right now who's been in the business 6 months, maybe a year, 2 years, who ain't got their first deal. That's like, man, listen, this business don't work. The business work. Sometimes, it's all about timing. Like, everybody ain't gonna get that first 30 days deal.
Facts.
2 months. It ain't gonna happen for us all. You can't define your success on another man's success or time. So, I wanted to put it out there because on this journey, man, you're gonna have obstacles you gotta overcome. It ain't gonna always be the easiest, but it can definitely be done.
Facts, man. And that's why I always say, man, every man or woman, every man got his own journey. And it ain't about how long it took everybody got their own journey. We just gotta walk it. And at the end of the day, if it's 2 years, 1 month, 3 years, 5 years, it don't matter. As long as you walk that journey, you're gonna be blessed tenfold for that, man. So salute. James, before we get out of here, man, anything you want to lead the people with, man?
I'm just gonna say, hey, slow feet don't eat, but also giving up, you damn sure ain't gonna eat. That's a fact.
That's a Fendi fact. That's a Fendi fact. Slow feet don't eat. Listen, salute to everybody that was able to tune in. Anybody that sees this after we wrap it up. James, my brother, thank you for being here. We're gonna wrap this one up. Man, this video, I love this conversation. It's gonna have so much impact, man. You're gonna bless so many people with this conversation and sharing your story, man. Yeah, I see Sean Jacob on here. Definitely a story I needed to hear, man. You're already touching people and helping people. So salute to you. Keep doing your thing, man. Keep pressing forward. Keep being the change that you want to see in your life and your family's life, man, and continue to go far, my brother.
Hey, I appreciate it, you as well. So one day we're gonna be working together on one of these container projects or something out here. So
Hey man, I like the energy, man. You spoke being on this podcast to existence, man. So I believe you when you say that, man. We're gonna make it happen. Guys, listen to my youth family. All right. Look, you already know the vibes, man. Shout out to all the youth family. We the hardest team in the business. All of my students, man. I love y'all. Let's keep pushing forward. Let's keep creating the change that we want to be in the industry, that we want to be in our families. Let's keep pushing it forward. If you're interested in joining the U, finding out more information about what we do, why we got over 425 people that are just absolute monsters and beasts in this business, look in the description to this video, click on the link and check out the program. If it's for you, come join us. If it ain't for you, that's all right, man. It's you family for life. You know the vibes, man. Everybody be good.
hey, let's get it.